This is Lifted, a podcast by women for women. I created this podcast in order to showcase the strength women bring to the table on a day-to-day basis. Women in business, women in employed roles, women in athletic and sports capacities, women in motherhood and parenting, and even women as partners in relationships. It is clear to see that when women come together to support each other, they create such a strong force and help each other live their best lives and show up as their highest selves in this roller coaster called life. I also showcase and highlight the strength in women undertaking bodybuilding as a sport, the mental resilience and discipline required to get oneself through competition prep, and also what it takes to take your body through such an extreme sport by sharing experiences of different athletes in the sport. Having this platform to talk about all these things is important to me because based on personal experience, it was the key to unlocking my true potential, and by passing this on, it might inspire you to do the same in a different or similar capacity. This is Lifted, a podcast to lift you up, not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally too, by talking about different ways of dealing with daily challenges we all face. I am your host, Carol West, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the sisterhood. Happy New Year, everybody. Wow, can you believe it? It's the beginning of yet another year. Another new chapter, or for some, a new book even. And I think it feels great to know that we all have a chance to start over or have a go at something we didn't quite accomplish in the last year. It is, however, important to understand that there's by no means a right or wrong way to approach the beginning of a new year. What works for one person may very well not work for you, and we must realize that we're all different individuals and our approach to things differs significantly. With that said, I'd like to welcome you to today's episode of Lifted, which is really a short and sweet one, just to try and shift our minds to a place of order in case you didn't have a very good start to the year, or if you just don't know what or where to start in as far as goal setting is concerned. So I'll just run you through a few points which I feel are necessary and important to help guide you and navigate your way through this next phase. And with it being a new year, it is that time where people have set themselves goals, they've got resolutions planned out, they've got things they want to achieve through the year, and it can be a really difficult position for some people because some of us are not very good at this sort of stuff and it's very hard to know where to start sometimes. But the first port of call, I would say, is to just have one thing in mind. Try not to get overwhelmed by trying to achieve so much because the year is long. There's 12 months in it. And it's a long time to want to fit so many things in it because you don't actually know how it's going to go. But you put these things down in the faith and in the hope that you will actually go and achieve whatever you're setting out to do. However, there's things that you need to have in mind or just to be aware of to help you plan out this year as it's a new year and as it's going. You want to have like a center of focus so that it helps you stay grounded and it helps you be in the zone of being creative as well, because all these things are very important to help with our self-development and to help us actually achieve something at the end of the year where we feel like, we've come to the end and we're at that place where we feel we need to reflect. So hopefully we've all done our reflections on the last year, but if not, it's absolutely fine. There is no right or wrong way, as I say, and everybody is different in the way that they look at things and the way they view things. And just because somebody has achieved like maybe 10, 15, 20 things in 1 year and you've only maybe achieved 2 or none, there is no wrong or right way. Our circumstances are obviously different. Our situations in life differ significantly. So we're not always going to get the same results. But what it is important to remember is that we still need to have a center of focus because, as I said, it helps you stay grounded and it helps you with your creative juices, which is very, very important for self-growth. So things to have in mind while we're doing this in this new year. Do not feel pressured to plan your life based on what you view on social media or what your peers are talking about. I feel this is a very important point because a lot of the time we are bombarded by images and things that we see our friends doing or posting on social media, and it can be very intimidating. It can be really bad for our mental health as well, because you're left in a position where you're comparing yourself to other people constantly. And if what you're seeing on social media is leaving you feeling a bit deflated, and even you feel like you're losing your confidence in things that you would do properly, I think it's time to take a step back from that sort of thing and maybe just give it like a break for a bit until you're at a point where you feel you are sure of yourself again. And even then, when you go back in, try not to believe everything that you see on social media. I'm not saying everything is false, but a lot of it is designed to look good and to look shiny and to look like everything is fantastic. Whilst we do know at the end of the day, the reality of life is that we are not always going to be at that place where we're on cloud nine every time. We're not going to be at that place where it's all rainbows constantly and things are going right. But that's the sort of thing that we get from social media, and these are the sorts of images we see, but we don't really know the story behind these pictures or these images, because what you might deem as the perfect life for somebody, or somebody who's a goal-getter, who's achieved so much, you do not know their mental health status. You do not know the demons they're battling inside them on a day-to-day basis to get to look the way they look. Or even you do not know that might just be their only way of escape. So they put those images out to make themselves feel or look better. And therefore, they get the dopamine hit when people are liking, people are commenting, people are, offering nice comments and literally boosting their self-esteem. And this could just be the only way that they find their confidence boost, and it helps them overcome whatever battles they're fighting on a day-to-day basis. So just because it looks shiny and nice and wonderful on the social media platform, it doesn't always necessarily mean that that's actually exactly what's going on. We do not know what goes on behind the scenes. And when somebody is locked away in their own space, we don't know the battles that they're fighting. We don't know that actually the life they are portraying is indeed what they live. So just think about that next time you feel like you're feeling a bit deflated based on what you're viewing or seeing on these social media sites. So that is a point to remember and definitely put in mind, because I feel it's a big part of our mental health in this day and age. There's instant gratification. A lot of it is based on how we portray ourselves and how much we angle ourselves for the cameras and use lighting to make ourselves look much better than we actually are. And I suppose that is not necessarily a bad thing if it helps you as an individual, but if it helps you for a moment, and then once you come off it you feel worse than you did before, you might consider not doing it, because really it isn't serving you in that case. So yeah, that's one point to consider. The other thing I need all of us to think about also is that your journey is unique to you, and the most important thing is to be true to yourself. So regardless of what issues or circumstances are surrounded by, you have to own that, and you have to be true to yourself. You always have to be honest about how you feel, and not just portray yourself in one light and try and ignore the fact that the other side is not so great. You cannot compare yourself to other people, as I said, because everybody's story is different, and just because it's being shown in a certain light doesn't always mean to say that that's exactly how it is. So your journey is your own, and you are allowed to go at your own pace, regardless of how early or how late you get into the game. As long as you're doing something to help progress you and to help make your life better on a day-to-day basis, to take care of your mental health, that's enough. You're winning. So don't don't make yourself feel bad about yourself by comparing yourself to other people's journeys, because again, you don't know when they started, you don't know how long they've been doing it for, you don't know where they started from. They might have been in a worse place than you are at the moment, starting out. So just because it looks a certain way, please remember it doesn't always equate to it being that way. So these are two things that, again, I feel they're very important. The other thing is to try and use the power of thought to really focus and zone in on what it is that you really want this year. You want to think about what you want this year to look like for you, and then set yourself a goal with a good solid plan of how you're going to go about this. So as what I've always said on my previous episodes, you can't really do very much without a proper plan. So that's always going to be your first port of call when you're trying to look forward to doing certain things over a course of time. You will need a roadmap. Just like when you're setting off to go on a journey somewhere and you don't know where you're going, you have your sat-nav in front of you or your GPS equipment with you. You will input in there details of where you're going, and these details are very specific. You can't just put a place or just a random name. It has to be, if you're looking to get to somewhere specifically, you have to put all the details down to the specificity of exactly where it is you're going. So it is the same thing when it comes to planning out a roadmap for where you want to be at the end of a certain time frame. So in this case, if you're planning for this new year and you're looking to get yourself from point A to point B at the end of the year, or after 6 months, or even setting smaller goals of month by month, which is much more achievable actually. And then just like zooming it out to think like, if I set this goal to achieve it in the next 4 weeks, then I can reevaluate when I get to those 4 weeks and see if I can push further for something else. And if not, if I haven't still achieved, I'll try again for the next 4 weeks and see where I'm at then, and then go again. I think, or I feel for most people, that is probably what is achievable. And breaking it down into small sections like that helps it feel less overwhelming, because like with all things, especially if you've got like big goals, and if you think of it of just one big goal, it's like standing at the bottom of Mount Everest and thinking like, how am I even going to get up there? We usually just start by that one single step. So it's exactly the same thing. Break it down into small areas or into small bits where you can actually manage them better, because if they're smaller tasks, you're most likely going to be able to tick them off as you go along, rather than just it being one big massive task that has to be done. It's more off-putting if you look at it as one big massive thing, but break it down in sections or in small bits, and then all of a sudden it looks more achievable and more doable, and therefore you're most likely to be able to stick to plan and to see through these small sections and tick them off as you go along. So that's a really good thing to also have in mind going forward for this new year. And also, if in all these things it's something that's quite out of your area of expertise, say, or out of where your knowledge lies, please do not be afraid to ask for help. If you don't understand something or how to go about a certain specific thing that you're wanting to achieve, there will always be professionals available to help. You can talk to friends, you can talk to family, or you can find out on the internet. Try and find recommendations of the certain professional person that does the thing that you're wanting to go down on the route that you're wanting to take. There will always be somebody who is able to help you through this. The only thing that you have to remember that is a self investment thing, and you should be thinking of it as something that you don't get for free, because this is somebody else's time. So if they're taking their time out to help you by giving you the steps that you need to achieve something, then you will also have to pay this person. So unless it's somebody who's offering to do it for you for free, maybe if it's a family member or a good friend who is willing to take you through it without charging for it, then fair dues. But really, don't shy away from investing in yourself, because for self-development and self-growth to happen, there also has to be self-investment in terms of paying out a certain amount of money to somebody who has the expertise to help you get to where you need to be in order for you to achieve what you've set out to achieve at the very beginning of your journey. So it's very important to bear that in mind, and the better the person is at the sort of thing they do. So maybe if it's in terms of the number of years they've been doing it, so their experience also might dictate that they will naturally charge more for it, because they've got a wide range of knowledge on what it is they're going on about. They know what they're talking about better than somebody who's probably just starting out. So there's no wrong or right way. Again, if you want to shop around and see what budget suits you, absolutely fine, but just make sure you do your research on whoever it is that you're going to pick, so that you actually pick somebody who's going to give you great advice and actually going to get you results, and not just take your money and run. Okay, so again, a good, important and great point for you to bear in mind whilst you're planning out the year ahead. Once that is done, you now want to get to work on creating daily habits. So you want to be setting small manageable tasks, as I pointed out before, that you can accomplish on a day-to-day basis. So break everything down to small manageable bits, so that it's not one big massive task, because that's most likely to cause you overwhelm and stop you in your tracks even before you start. So every time you complete the task that you've set out in that small bit of area that you've broken it down into, every time you complete that task, look forward to progressing it as you go along as well. This is in order to eliminate the risk of boredom and lack of interest in what you think you have already accomplished. So we as human beings tend to have we tend to go back to default settings, for lack of a better way of putting it, because you'll do something and you feel like, oh, I've put everything into this last 4 weeks, so I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish, so that's done now, I can leave that and go back to being my normal self. But unfortunately, the thing to remember is, once you set out on a journey to achieve something in the long term, it has to be something that you're constantly working on, and you can't just switch on and off. Yes, you can have days off, you can have days where you don't want to think about the thing, but equally so, you have to bear in mind that that is work in progress. So you can't just go back to default settings and think like, oh, well, I've put everything into this last however many weeks or days, so now it's fine, that's ticked off and I can just be. Nothing wrong with being like that, but really, if we're talking about trying to achieve something quite significant to you, and also if you're talking about wanting to always be on that road of self-progression and development, we cannot afford to have that sort of a mentality. We always have to strive to do more, to be more, because it keeps your brain working. It's good for you to always strive to be better. So small manageable tasks that you can accomplish on a day-to-day basis, very important. And every time you complete those tasks, progress it as you go along, so that you don't get into an area where you're back to your default settings because you're bored or you've suddenly lost interest in what you wanted to achieve in the first place. So I'm hoping that's landing and that it's making sense, because as I said at the beginning, it can be a very overwhelming place to be, whilst everybody is setting massive big goals and you sat there not knowing where to start. Having these small things in mind while you're setting out on your task finding or putting down tasks for the year ahead, it is going to be quite beneficial and helpful in order for you to get to the end of a year knowing that you have done absolutely brilliant and amazing in what you set out to do at the beginning of it. So as I pointed out again, when you're doing all this and setting yourself these goals, you always have to ask yourself, how can I do better? If you're good at something, there will always be a way to improve this. You can't just get to a place where you say that I'm the best of the best that there ever is. And maybe that's a good thing sometimes to tell yourself, which is great for morale boosting and confidence. But really the truth is there will always be a way to improve whatever it is that you're doing, because things keep evolving and things keep changing as the world continues to change and evolve in the different areas that we're faced with in our daily lives. So having that mind or mindset of asking yourself if there is a way to improve something, being willing to put the work in to be better and do better or improve in whatever it is that you're doing, it keeps your brain working, which is absolutely fantastic and great for self-development and progression. So as I said, we are evolving beings, so being stagnant in one place is not really good for us, and we always want to keep that brain active and keep the creative juices flowing. It's good for all these things. So finally, in all these points that I've mentioned above, you must have faith in your abilities. And never ever entertain negative self-talk, because this is very detrimental, not just to your goal setting role that you put yourself into, but it's also really detrimental to a way of functioning and a way of performing, because what this does is it leads to procrastination and stagnation, which kills off any ambition or any great talent and skill that you may have. The moment you start having doubts about your ability to do something, the moment you start questioning yourself whether you're good enough to do something or not, is the moment you are most likely to throw in the towel about something that you might have a very great idea on, and you'll just sit on it, and then somewhere down the line somebody else will come along with the same idea you'll find, and you'll be kicking yourself thinking like, I had that idea, why didn't I push for it, or why didn't I do something with it? So yeah, please by all means try and avoid having those negative self conversations from within. Try and fight them off. Again, this is something that's a constant battle for all of us, and it's something that you have to keep working at, because it's not something that you can do and it sticks. We all have that inner voice that's always doubting our own abilities, that's always telling us that who do you think you are, and you can't achieve that, because what do you think how do you think you're going to do it? The best course of action for that is to shut it right down and have complete and absolute faith in yourself that you can actually get to work and believe in yourself enough to know that you can pull off exactly what it is that you've thought out in your mind, and bring it to life and do it really well. So great point that as well, about the negative self-talk. Try and avoid that at all costs. And so in order to get our brains working efficiently, as I've pointed out in the above statement, we also need to remember that good nutrition and exercise as part of our daily practice is absolutely vital. This will include plenty of green vegetables in your diet, and also the taking of certain supplements in order to make up for what you don't get enough of out of your diet. So, for example, an example of a really good supplement, one of the most important supplements you should be taking if you're not already, is the omega-3 fish oil supplement, which contributes massively to brain development, and it also helps to prevent inflammation and heart disease, and a decline in brain function too. It helps prevent that, which is what we all really want. We want our brains to be sharp, laser focused, and we want our brains to always have maximum capacity of thinking and creativity. And so for that to happen, we need to eat the right things. We need to fuel our bodies right. We need to put things in our bodies that actually helps us be at our most optimal health, for us to be able to carry out all these tasks that we are setting ourselves. Don't forget, our life also has to go on in amongst all these goal-setting things that we're doing for ourselves. Life also has its own ups and downs that we need to be able to function around and do our day-to-day activities and function properly. And for that, we need energy, and we need the mental clarity and a good, clear headspace for us to still be proactive and productive throughout the day. So, as I pointed out, you need to make sure that what you're putting in your body is what is serving you. You can also make walking part of your daily routine. So a short brisk walk out in the fresh air helps clear your head, as well as it gives you the mental clarity that you need to focus better, especially on difficult tasks or ones that you require a big part of your mental bandwidth. So big decisions require a lot of our attention and our focus. So if we've got foggy brain, or if we can't function because for some reason or other we are not having the mental capacity to do it, then we won't be functioning at our best, and we will not be able to show up when we're required to show up. And it's very important to know that when you're required to show up in certain aspects, you really have to have that clear mental clarity, and you have to have the brain cells capability of actually producing great things, whether it's for work or whether it's just for you as a person in your personal development journey. We all need that clarity, and so these things, nutrition, diet, exercise, are absolutely important for us to be able to function and to function at our most optimal position. So, little tips there for you to help you in your task planning for the year and goal setting, or however you want to phrase it as. All these things will go a long way in helping you to actually put something down in place if you don't know where to start, or if you don't know what to do, or if you do know what to do and you don't actually know how. It's a start, and it's a place that you can bring yourself to in order to actually make a start and develop yourself from there. And finally, let's not forget to take some time out for ourselves. A little bit of self-love and self-care. Let's book in for that spa date or treatment. Let's go on that hike if that's what you're into. Let's have a meal out with a friend or a family member if it brings you joy. Let's book in for that massage, or even just go and spend some time alone reading a good book, watching a film, or settling down to a nice podcast like Lifted to help you achieve the mental clarity that is needed when you're starting out new beginnings or goal-setting activities, as we have discussed. This will definitely set you up nicely to be in a great position for achieving your goals, and whilst not feeling under pressure or fighting overwhelm, because again, we don't want to get to that point where we're burnt out and we've pushed too hard and we can't push anymore. We have to be strategic in how we do things. We have to have a good solid plan in place. We have to be able to seek out help from professionals who can help us put a plan together if we are not capable of doing it ourselves. So these small tips will help you achieve all that and more. When you know what you want, the how is very easy to do, and you will do it. Have faith in yourself, believe in your capabilities, and shut down that negative self-talk. It does not serve you one bit. I hope you've had a great start to the year and are looking forward to making it one of your best ones yet. Thank you everyone for listening, and stay tuned for the next episode coming up real soon. Bye-bye for now. And just before you go, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel so you don't ever miss any upcoming episodes. Also, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Carol West Coaching. Are you interested in coaching or joining our team as a client? We offer photo shoot, body transformations, as well as bodybuilding competition prep packages. The team at the Elevate Health and Body Transformation Program are ready and waiting to help you achieve and maintain your dream physique. Whether you're looking to step on stage or just want to do it for yourself, you can send us a DM and we'll get you on the road to achieving a lean and fit physique. Bye for now.